안녕하세요. Oh my god. 안녕하세요, 여러분. So, as I predicted last time, I am sick. Hopefully you guys can look past my voice today and just focus on what we're gonna be talking about because it's really exciting and I can't wait to talk about it. So today I decided to kind of sum up this big chapter that we've been talking about, which is counting in Korean. So we went over the silent Korean numbers, native Korean numbers, and then last week we talked about when to actually use those two systems, but there is a huge component and very important one that I kind of purposefully missed out so that I could talk about it today, which you can't do most of the counting in Korean without. So so I'm going to talk about it today, and that is counters. So as I probably mentioned in like every episode, there are hundreds and hundreds of counters in Korean, and we're definitely not gonna go over all of them today, but I'm gonna give you 3 most useful counters out there with which you can count pretty much any noun in Korean. How does that sound? Sounds like a pretty good deal. First counter is probably one of the most important ones because you can use it for the biggest amount of things, and that is a counter for things. That counter is 개, and you can use it technically for any inanimate object as long as it's not a human or an animal. You can use it for pretty much anything like apples or chairs or pens or doors or whatever. So yeah, now that we know what counter to use with any inanimate object, the only things that are left are humans and animals, and then we're good to go. Obviously a lot of inanimate objects have their own counters, but as I said, we're not going to get into them today because what I'm trying to get you guys to do is to just be comfortable with speaking and reading and understanding things. So as long as you get your point across, maybe not knowing a specific counter for apples, but knowing the counter for things, you'll be able to say whatever you're trying to say. So moving on to the counter for people, that counter is 명. And here there are actually a few counters that I want to talk about because there's the overall counter, which is 명, and you can use it for any human of any kind, female, male, child, adult, whatever, anything. But if you want to level up your Korean game a little bit and you want to refer to someone in a more polite manner, which actually for a lot of foreigners is quite hard to wrap your head around, that there's such a huge distinction between the formal and informal speech, between the 반말 and 존댓말. But if you're learning Korean and you figured out a little bit for yourself, like, yeah, I should be formal in these situations, I can be casual in these ones, then in the casual ones you can use 명. Pretty sure you can use 명 in formal situation. If you don't really know any other counters, it's perfectly fine. I don't think anyone is actually going to like get super mad at you from what I know. All of your native speakers, teachers and tutors, please let me know if I'm wrong, but from what I know, if you say 명 to someone who's older, I don't think they're going to mind it that much. I guess depends on an individual, but yeah. If you want to refer to a human being politely, you can use counter, which is 분, which is spelled just like the word for minute, but when it uses a counter, it is used to count people in a polite way. So I will get to examples at the end of the video, so stick around to that. And for now, we're going to be moving on to the counter for animals, because that's pretty much the only thing that there's left. And the counter for that is mari, and you can use that counter again for any animal. Please refrain from using it with humans because, yeah, that's just really rude. Let's go straight to examples. So first of all, when we're counting with counters in Korean, then most of the time you use native Korean numbers. I know some of you that have been studying for longer will tell me that yes, there are times when you count with silent Korean numbers, when it's like really big numbers, or when there's like specific counters that you use with silent Korean numbers. Yes, I know. But just for beginners to get this concept in your mind where, you know, how do I count things? Most of the time, just think of native Korean numbers going with counting things, you know, counting objects, counting humans, counting whatever. Just get that concept in your head. If you get a little bit confused, go back to my previous video where I talked about when you assign our native Korean numbers and you'll be perfectly fine. In addition, numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 20 actually change their appearance a little bit. So instead of hana, we're gonna use han. So 2 is going to drop the diode at the bottom and become this. Set and net are going to both drop the 시읒 at the bottom and become 세 and 네. And 20 is also going to drop the 리을 at the bottom and turn into 스무. Now let's get into how do we actually count things. So for example, if you have 5 apples, or if there are 5 apples, then you just say the word for apples, 사과. Then you say the number, 다섯. Then you say the counter. Because we don't know the counter for apples, we're just gonna use 개. And then you just say there is, which is 있어요. So 사과 5개 있어요. Do you get it? You use whatever the object there is that you're counting, the number, the counter, and then whatever the rest of the sentence, whatever action it is. Maybe if there are dogs playing, then you're gonna have dogs, number, counter, and then the verb for playing, you know? To give an example of a counter for people, let's say I met 6 of my friends yesterday, you know? So then I say I, 나는, or 난, if you want to shorten it. Then I say the time, 어제, which is yesterday. Then I say the object of a sentence of what I'm actually talking about, 친구. Then I say the number and the counter, 6명, 을. In this case, you add a little particle at the end, which is 을, which I don't want you guys to get confused if you don't know about it for now. I probably will make a video about it in the future, but yeah, don't worry about it too much. But yes, you do add that little 을 particle, and then you say 만났어요. 난 어제 친구 6명을 만났어요. That's how it's gonna go. If you want to refer to someone politely, or the situation when someone actually would refer to you politely is when you, for example, are coming to a restaurant and then there's a receptionist or a waiter asking you, are you a group of 3 people, for example? So they will refer to you in a polite manner because you're a customer and they're trying to show their respect, and they will say 세 분이세요. So he's saying 세, which is 3, 분, which is formal counter for people, and then 이세요 is that like are there, basically. So he's asking, are you a group of 3 people, or literally, are there 3 people? So yeah, I will give a few examples of how to count animals in the description box below. Also, all the examples that I mentioned in this video are also gonna go down in the description box, so if you don't want to pause the video and like read whatever is written here, then just look at the description box and everything is going to be there for you. Yeah, so that is it for today. If you guys have any questions, please pop them in the comment section, and I really hope I will get to see you guys on Monday, but I'm really not sure how my voice is gonna be feeling because I feel like it is just kind of leaving my body, to be honest. Like, I am going to just lose it anytime. I'm trying to take good care of myself. I'm trying to take a lot of meds, but on this bright note, I hope you guys all have a wonderful upcoming weekend, and I will see you guys all really soon. 안녕!